A lot of focus on these for Drive Car of the Year 2021 Best Dual Cab, and the funny thing is most buyers at the higher end of the spectrum don't use the tray for much more than putting in a mountain bike or their gym gear or going to the beach. Still, we have to test their ability to carry a load, and our finalists are the Mazda BT-50 and the Isuzu D-Max, which are twins, and of course the old favourite, the Ford Ranger, here in Wild Track Specification. There's a lot to dissect in this segment because you've got two brand new dual cabs here against one that's been around for nearly a decade. It's a testament to how well engineered that thing is. The judges are going to have to look at all manner of things like safety, technology, value for money and standard inclusions, but also what they drive like on-road and off-road, and how they carry a load. It's going to be a really interesting one. Let's get into the best dual cab for Drive Car of the Year 2021. It's about to turn 10 years old, but the Ford Ranger, perhaps incredibly, still sits near the top of the class thanks to continual evolution that has kept safety and technology up to date. Depending on your budget and role, there's a Ranger for any purpose starting from $29,190 for a single cab two-wheel drive and stretching to $77,690 for the Ranger Raptor Hero model. All Ranger models are diesel powered, with a choice of 2.2 litre 4-cylinder workhorses, a more powerful 3.2 litre 5-cylinder engine, or the flagship 2 litre bi-turbo 4-pot and its 157 kilowatt and 500 Newton metre outputs. Even the most basic model incorporates autonomous emergency braking, fatigue detection, traffic sign recognition, emergency call assist and 6 airbags. Equipment varies greatly as you move through the range, from 16-inch steel wheels, vinyl flooring and manual air conditioning in the fleet version, to acoustic windscreens, leather trim, partially digital instruments, 18-inch alloy wheels and LED ambient lighting higher up the family tree. You can't mention the Isuzu D-Max without giving a nod to the Mazda BT-50 and vice versa, owing to shared development of the two vehicles led by Isuzu. In the case of the D-Max, $32,200 gets you into the range, while top spec models ask for $62,900, though both the top and bottom grades also benefit from drive-away pricing deals to sharpen their value. There's just one engine throughout the range, a nearly all-new 3-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel with 140 kilowatts and 450 Newton meters, available with either a 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic and 2- or 4-wheel drive. Head to the top of the range and you get unique styling additions: 18-inch alloy wheels, a roll-top tray cover, keyless entry with walkaway lock, and leather seat trim with power adjustment for the driver. All D-Max variants include autonomous emergency braking with intersection assist and a segment-first centre airbag to reduce the risk of injury in a side collision. There's a certain irony in the Mazda BT-50 moving from a co-developed platform with fellow finalist Ford and into the list with new partner Isuzu. Therefore, the engine and drivetrain is identical. Mazda's range isn't as broad as some rivals, with base spec XT versions available as cab chassis models and pickup style tubs reserved for dual cabs only, for which payload varies from 1,065 to 1,095 kilograms. Styling inside and out is Mazda's own, and even the BT-50 XT includes LED headlights, 17-inch alloy wheels, and a 7-inch infotainment screen with digital radio, Android Auto, and wireless Apple CarPlay. Safety specification, like the powertrain, also mirrors that of the D-Max, with class-leading airbags and electronic assistance.
The Toyota Hilux continues to be one of Australia's favourite cars and has received some important and crucial improvements for this generation. Sadly though, the whole dual cab ute market has been on the rise quite strongly, which does see the Hilux miss out on our top 3 positions by the narrowest of margins.
Isuzu have made great improvements on their all-new D-Max versus the outgoing model. So where have they been realised? Well, first thing you notice is this comfortable seat. I feel like you could sit here on a good long drive and remain comfortable over the whole stint. There's also a centre airbag too, which is a great addition, as well as plenty of storage throughout the cabin. However, this car could improve on its materials as well as its infotainment system. It is a little bit basic and not as good as the one found in the Ford Ranger. Mazda's BT-50 under the skin is the same as the Isuzu D-Max. That means its interior is quite similar. However, it all comes down to personal preference. Where you don't get as much storage in this BT-50, you get a few extra things instead. Heated seats and an auto-dimming rear vision mirror as well. However, the downfalls are the same as the Isuzu D-Max. This infotainment system, despite featuring a large screen, features a rather basic operating system and also lacks a volume knob too. Also, trying to interact with the driver assist systems via the steering wheel is quite tricky. Despite the Ford Ranger being a bit long in the tooth, it still delivers in key areas. The seat is nice and comfortable. There are plenty of ergonomic joys, such as dual lock and unlock buttons on either door, as well as an extendable sun visor, which is incredibly handy, a second row that's very spacious, and door openings that are suitable for loading children. However, it is showing its age in a couple of particular areas, one of which is its gauge cluster. It feels a bit old hat compared to others in the class, as are these interior plastics. They are hard wearing, but they just feel a little bit cheap.
As Justin says, the back seat of Utes has gotten a lot more comfortable as these things have become pseudo-family cars. Now I'm in the Isuzu D-Max, and as you can see, I have a stack of room. This seat is in my driving position, it honestly is, and I'm 6'3". My toes have room, my knees have room, my head has room as well. Plus, it's pretty comfortable. You've got a USB charge point and air vents here for the passengers. There's also a little cubby hole that, as you can see, doesn't really do anything. Plus, there's an armrest with cup holders. Let's check out the other finalists. Right, well, I'm now in the back of the Mazda BT-50. Driver's seat still in my position, still lots of room, and you could be forgiven for thinking that I'm still in the same car because, as we know, this and the D-Max share a lot of their components, especially the interior. What you do get in the Mazda, though, is the purpley brown coloured leather, which is not to everybody's tastes. But interestingly, because this car doesn't have a sports bar or a sailplane like you find in the D-Max, it's actually a lot brighter back here because there's more light coming in through the rear window. All right, let's check out the final finalist, the Ford Ranger. Right, well, this is the back of the third finalist in the dual cab Ute segment, the Ford Ranger. And to be honest, it has always been a leader in rear cabin space. The seat itself is very comfortable. There's great knee room thanks to the scalloped seats, and my toes have room too. Plus, so does my hair. Big ticks there. What this car doesn't and has never had are rear air vents, and it can be, certainly on a warm day like this, a little bit uncomfortable. You do get, however, the most important accessory that, or we certainly think of, is the outlet here between the seats, which is really, really handy if you've got devices, whether for work or for play, that you need to charge while you're either on the road or out somewhere. It's a really, really handy addition. You also get the armrest with cup holders, and I tell you what, it's a pretty nice place to be.
It's fair to say that every member of the dual cab fraternity is more capable and sure-footed now than ever. While the game has moved on in the last decade, it's also worth noting that the all-wheel drive Amarok set the standard by which all others are judged. Ford's Ranger is a deserving finalist despite being a decade old, and that's never more evident than in the way it behaves on-road. Through the dynamic test course, the judges noted reassuring balance, direct steering and sure-footedness even on a wet surface. Clever electrics play their part for any of the dual cabs that don't run constant all-wheel drive, given the realities of rear-wheel drive and powerful diesel engines. The Ranger's power steering is direct and weighted neatly, and it responds to input smoothly. The ride is tuned well between its load hauling capabilities and the way it behaves unladen. D-Max and its BT-50 twin bring brand new platforms and engineering to the dual cab segment, and the dynamic ability of the Isuzu impressed the judges at Drive Car of the Year testing. The revised ride and handling tune brings with it a newfound sense of balance and confidence. The judges like the way the D-Max remains sharp and reassuring through the slalom, and like the best in the segment, D-Max is harder to unsettle than ever before. Isuzu's power steering isn't quite as accomplished as the still segment-leading Ranger, but it's a system that works well on the dynamic test loop. Mazda's BT-50, as you'd expect given it's identical under the skin, is very much the same experience for the judges on the dynamic test loop as the Isuzu D-Max. The twins move the game forward in a variety of ways, but their behaviour on the test course is noteworthy. Stable on wet or dry surfaces, the BT-50 changes direction easily, remains balanced at speed, and brakes in a straight line no matter how hard the emergency stop. None of our finalists struggle to carry our nominal testing weight in the tray, usually from 400 kilograms to 600 kilograms or with a trailer in tow. You can read the individual and comparison reviews for more detailed explanations of their load hauling capabilities. As we found on the sealed test course, the twins under the skin perform pretty much identically off-road as well. Both Mazda and Isuzu tackle slippery situations with aplomb, even with road-focused tyres. All four-wheel drivers know that more ground clearance is always advantageous, and yet our testing has shown that BT-50 and D-Max, even in stock trim, are quite capable off-road. The judges like the proper low-range gearing, a torque-rich diesel engine, and a robust 6-speed automatic that make for easy off-road progress no matter how challenging the terrain. The Ford Ranger, despite its advancing age, once again shows its stripes off-road. While the 3-litre diesel engine in the Isuzu and Mazda is a grunty, effortless performer in the rough stuff, the Ranger's twin-turbo 2-litre also gets the job done nicely. Ranger's clever electronics, all-terrain traction and excellent gearbox impress the judges, and all combine to deliver a safe and reliable off-road driving experience. The judges liked the way the automatic worked off-road, despite the initial perception that 10 ratios might be a few too many. The best dual cab ute for 2021 Drive Car of the Year Awards is this one, the Isuzu D-Max. Now, we asked the judges to pick one, and this is the difficult part because obviously the BT-50 is an identical vehicle effectively with a few little spec changes and differences. And if you can buy only one, the judges have said the D-Max is the one that they would buy. There's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, Isuzu has done the work. This is their platform. They put a lot of time and effort into getting this dual cab right. It's also the fact that it's a great value for money dual cab, and the inclusions, the safety kit, really well put together, and it comes together as a good all-round package. That's not to say that Mazda's dropped the ball though with the BT-50. It's obviously a huge exercise to make that truck look like a Mazda. We think they've done a fantastic job with the styling and the fact that it feels like a Mazda when you look at it from the outside. But here's the kicker. Mazda could have done a little bit more work to make it feel like a Mazda from the inside. They could have used their MZD infotainment system, and they could have injected a little bit of their driving DNA, which certainly wouldn't hurt this segment one bit. So therefore, as good as the Mazda BT-50 is, and as good as the Ford Ranger still is, being a decade old, our 2021 dual cab for Drive Car of the Year is the Isuzu D-Max. History has shown us that Isuzu's engines are pretty much bulletproof and last the test of time if you service them on schedule. Our indicated fuel use on test ranged between 9.8 and 10.8 litres per 100 kilometres across a range of country and city driving. If you want to know how popular the D-Max is and why we think the judges have it absolutely right, try going to a dealership now and ordering one, and there's a fair chance you'll be on a long waiting list. Don't forget to hit like if you've enjoyed this video, click on subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our latest dual cab content, and of course for the full review head to Drive.com.au where we've got winners for every category for the most important vehicles on the Australian new car market.